I think it's funny that you said that because when I present on it, I often will put up a little picture of the life cycle of the HIV virus and say, this was my first love. Like this, not really, but like in terms of as a virologist, as an immunologist, I really did fall in love in a certain way, in the same ways that you fall in love with a person. Maybe there's an initial attraction, and then you start to notice all of these little things about it that draw you in deeper, that make you more interested and more fascinated in this particular thing, this particular person, in this case, a virus, right? So I think you use the word elegance, which is a perfect word, because I think the initial attraction was to that. Like, how can so simple of an organism be so diabolical, even in the ways, like with such simple parts, the intricacy, the precision with which the virus is able to overcome all of our defenses. We have so many layers of defenses to protect us against exactly this kind of virus. We've been getting infected by viruses of the same type as HIV for 450 million years.
Wow.
Vertebrate animals have been getting infected by retroviruses like HIV. We have evolved over those 450 million years countless defenses against these viruses, to the point that in a world full of retroviruses, almost none of them can infect us. It can infect humans because we have such good defense against them. And yet HIV, with just these 9 genes, is able to find a way around everything that we have in place to do it, to establish this infection, which is marvelous in a terrifying way, right? Because of its impacts on human health. It's caused an absolutely horrific pandemic, cost so many lives, so much suffering. And yet the virus, has no malintent. It's an evolved organism that is simply persisting and poses like a really fascinating challenge to a scientist to understand exactly how it's achieving what it's managing to achieve, and also how we can try to counteract that. Because as much as you might be in love with the virus, what you're really in love with is this fascinating problem, this fantastic set of processes that are happening that pose a challenge to try to understand them better so that we can actually help people eventually would be the goal.
Yeah. What exactly are viruses? I mean, are they organisms? Are they alive? Are they machines? How do you understand what these things are?
That's a great question. I don't think there's consensus. I think of viruses as an essential, it's almost hard to imagine life without them, but sort of an almost inevitable byproduct of the process of life as we know it. So, in every way, whether the virus itself is alive, the virus is very much involved in the process of life. And so, basically, what a virus really is just a small piece of genetic information that has the capacity to replicate itself. You could think of us in a reductive way as a big set of genetic information that is able to reproduce ourselves, right? And so all of life falls into this paradigm. It's really the beauty of evolution, to get at the word beauty here, but the marvel of it is that it's a very, very simple paradigm that generates unimaginable diversity of life and so many beautiful things, which is the simple paradigm that any genetic information that can replicate and persist will. And the genetic information that persists is here today, and whatever didn't is gone, has gone extinct, or never really established in the first place. And so, through that simple paradigm, you have this process through random mutation that diversifies into so many different life forms that are able to persist, that are able to go on reproducing and continuing to propagate that genetic information through history in all of the diverse forms of life. A virus is really just the simplest version, which is a tiny piece of either DNA or RNA that can go into a cell and, hijacking the normal machinery of a cell, make copies of itself, exit the cell, and go on to infect another cell and another organism. And they will do this forever until they die out, right? Just like everything else that's alive.